You mentioned earlier on that you'd spent 15 years working with the Hyatt chain. Have you worked for any other brands within?
No. This is the first time I've worked for another company. 15 years with Hyatt International through Asia Pacific. Big decision to come to one, Dubai. Secondly, to come to a new company.
Do you think that experience is good for people to try different hotel brands, to have different experiences? Because
based on the individual, I think, really.
Okay.
I mean, we're going through a lot of CVs at the moment, looking for people for Western. And when we look at the CV, I always used to, having spent 15 years with one company, look at a CV and look for stability within a company. Not so much stability within a property, but stability within a company, because I felt that showed loyalty, and loyalty was very important and so forth. I think more and more loyalty is becoming less important as it becomes more of a market for the employee as opposed to the employer. It's tough to get people, and you see a lot more CVs now with a year and a half, a year, 2 years here, and different companies moving out of hotels into private sector, back into hotels, etc. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know that there's a right answer to that. I think there is certainly benefits in learning what other companies do.
Okay.
I know people that have left companies, have gone to a new company, and have ultimately returned to the company that they started with, and they've taken back a lot of wisdom back to that company. So I don't think it's right or wrong. I think it's certainly taught me a lot. It's shown me a different side of the world and side of the industry. So I mean, for me, I've learned a lot.
So as you mentioned, Shaun, it's more of an employee industry now as opposed to an employer's industry. What way do you see it going in the future?
I think, I mean, it's more of an employee's market, I think. You know, there's a lot more. Look at what's happening here. There's a hell of a lot of hotels opening. And, Dubai is still a very popular destination, but there are other parts of the world that are becoming very popular. You look at Macau, you look at mainland China, you look at other parts of Europe. But probably China is the biggest competition to the Middle East at the moment. Macau, Hong Kong, all of those sort of countries. Which way is it going to go? I think it's very important that it goes down a path where we can drive a lot more people through educationally, whether that be through universities, through hotel schools, and so.
What would the main hotel schools in Australia be?
Australian International Hotel School. Okay. The Blue Mountains International Hotel School. And the school that I went to, which would be the Victoria University of Technology, which at the time was the first degree course in hospitality management. I did a Bachelor of Business in catering and hotel management with a major in finance. So it was not as big as what it is now. There's a lot more schools that are taking on degree courses. But I think we as employers have to focus on those sort of schools. I'm not sure where you were studying, where you were educated, but we've taken on trainees from Switzerland, we've taken on trainees from various parts of the world, and my goal when I was in Australia was to find a few trainees for us out of the Blue Mountains at that time. Okay. So we've got 3 identified, and I think that's the sort of path we're going to, particularly for senior, middle to senior management, that's the sort of path we're going to have to follow.
What about your own path, Shaun? I mean, what way do you envisage your own future going for the next couple of years? 10 years' time, where do I find you? 10 years'
time, I would have to be...
Retired?
I would have to... No, I'm not that. Funnily enough, for those of you who don't believe me, I'm only actually 35 in a couple of days. So I'm not that old, but I look it. That's what the industry... No, it doesn't.
No, don't be saying that.
It doesn't do that.
Don't be...
We're 10 years, I don't know. I think probably 10 years I'll be back in Australia.
Okay.
Who knows? I mean, you can't say where you're going to be and what... I mean, I would like to be, certainly by then, if not more, elevated in terms of the structure. I'd certainly like to be a general manager by then. And I think that's achievable.
Finally, Shaun, can I suppose, for us here at younghotelier.com, we're trying to, provide knowledge and wisdom from people like you to young people who are considering the industry. Is there anything that you would like to share with us as advice for these people?
Yeah, I think ambition is important. Everyone has to have ambition. Everyone has to have passion. I just advise people that you know are going to visit this site to make sure that that's tempered with patience. You know, we as management can sometimes be these days be more inclined to perhaps fast track people that are only very young and maybe not ready and need to learn. And I know a lot of people that we have coming through here are they believe in themselves, and that's great. But you know, take your time, learn. The industry will come back and bite you if you don't take your time and learn at that sort of junior middle management level. And don't get frustrated when we turn around here and say, you need to look at this, you need to work on this, you need to do this. It's not we being hard. It's us being, hopefully
good advisors.
Guiding and advising people down the right path. So, I mean, ambition and passion is important, but make sure that you're not impatient. A lot of people get impatient. A lot of people jump ship when they get impatient. And I think you've also got to realise in this industry there's going to be things that will happen to you that you don't necessarily like. You'll be put into situations that constantly challenge you, and particularly when you get to the level I'm in, it becomes less black and white. There's a lot more grey in my day-to-day, as there was perhaps 7 years ago when I was just an assistant manager. It was policy and procedure this way, and ultimately if it needed to be changed, it was my boss that did it. So they need to understand, I think, that it's not carved in stone. How to run this industry, how to do your job is not carved in stone. So, yeah.
What competencies do you think are important to people to be a success in this industry?
You've got to be a people person.
Okay.
I mean, forget about it if you don't like dealing with people.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's dealing with guests, but also dealing with staff. If you don't particularly enjoy getting in front of a guest at a restaurant, or if you don't particularly like sitting down with staff and counselling staff, and I don't think anyone really enjoys it. But if it's not your cup of tea, then maybe a telemarketing role's the best thing for you. So you've got to definitely be a people person. I think you've got to have a great deal of, as I said before, passion, ambition, and remember that in hotel, rooms is the body and food and beverage is the soul of any hotel.
True F&B director. Thank you very much for your time. On behalf of younghotelier.com, it's good for us to learn your pearls of wisdom and hope that we can put them to better use.
Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.